early August. It's that time of year when hay's on the ground, fixing to get that up. The turkeys will be glad of that. But it's the time of year when you start thinking about what? Bow season, because it's right around the corner. Now, not a challenge, just a thought. Give traditional archery a try this bow season. You ever thought about it? I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should think about it. The first reason you should think about trying trad is when you go trad, the world, not the tractor, the world becomes your target. If I'm shooting a compound bow, I got to have specifically a target made to hold a compound arrow, whatever. If I'm shooting my old longbow, I don't have to have that. Like maybe that hay bale. Got something like an old hay bale sitting around, that's a target. Target. Got an old clump of weeds sitting in your field, target. Dead deer. Dead deer. Let's go find those arrows. Another beautiful thing about traditional, if I shot 2 arrows, I found 2 arrows. Hey, you get the picture. You pick out a target, got your bow, shoot it, go find your arrow. Can't do that with a compound. Nope. Hey, when you're shooting traditional, this is reason 4. Reason 4. When you're shooting traditional, you're basically unaffected by things like the COVID epidemic. They've closed the pro shop. Oh well. If I'm shooting trad, I can make a lot of my own stuff. You're not affected if I were shooting a gun. We have no ammo. We've got an ammo shortage. I don't have an arrow shortage. I can make an arrow if I have to. Let me show you some examples. I've had these arrows, which are carbon, but I've had these going on 10 years. Same arrow. I've shot them into everything. I've shot stumps. I've missed the target completely on numerous times, but still got my arrows. You get half dozen or a dozen arrows, they could stay with you for 10 years. Other examples. You need a quiver to carry your practice points. A friend of mine made that one for me. Bamboo. Got my little strap. If I go to a 3D shoot, I got it. Broadhead quiver. I made this one myself from a design that Saxton Pope had in his book. Dressed it up a little bit, but this was a doe I shot, and then I was able to utilize the hide to make a quiver. Put a little great stuff in the bottom, holds my broadhead securely, all good. And think back about making equipment. Let's say you couldn't get those. You can use cedar arrows. You can make cedar arrows. You could make fir arrows. You could make reed cane arrows. That's what that is. Some people call it river cane. Here in these parts, we all call it reed cane. But it's an excellent shafting material. I just hadn't put feathers on it. I did glue a broadhead on. Hadn't used it yet, but I'm thinking about it. Yarn, paracord, hide, any of those make a good silencer. What if you didn't have a string? Well, if you have string material on hand, you can make your own trad string. I'm not so good at it. I could make an endless loop, but a Flemish twist? No. But people learn it. It's not too incredibly hard, but it does take a talent. Again, reason 4, COVID shut down, can't get to the store for whatever reason. If I'm a trad shooter, I get myself stocked up good, I can go for years. Reason 3, you should try trad archery this year. Because it's hard. You never fully master it. If I buy a compound bow, a good compound, have a decent teacher, I could shoot about 2 hours with the right gear and probably go out and ethically harvest a deer. Can you do that with a longbow or recurve? No. It takes days, hours, years. You never fully master it. It's like playing golf. You may master it today, and you go out tomorrow and you realize something's off with my form. So you work on it again. But that's the fun part. It's enjoyable. You never fully master it. So reason 3, it's hard. And nothing worth doing is easy. Embrace the grind, the hard that is trad archery. Think about that. Reason 3. Count it down to reason 2. Reason 2. You get to take a trip back in time. Okay? You get to go back to a time before cell phones, before cams, before wheels, and you're doing it like ancient man did, like the Native Americans did. They made their own bows, they made their own arrows, and they made a living doing that. Doesn't that make you kind of want to try it? Think about this. Did the guy that made that, he just made that out of a piece of flint, or chert as they call it. He didn't have a rangefinder. Did the guy who made that, that's a spear point, not really a broadhead but a spear point, but did he have cams and wheels? I don't think so. Alright, these, if I'm lucky enough and a field's been plowed and we get rain just right and I'm walking, I'm always looking. That's a broadhead. That's big enough to kill a man or a deer. Another broadhead that would go on an arrow. All these were found right around where I live. So that said, people have been doing this for centuries. Go back and connect with the people who put archery on the map back when. Fred Bear, Howard Hill, Ishii. Let's take it even further back. Battle of Crecy. Alright, Battle of Crecy, that's when the English longbow really came to prominence. And rumor has it that the French had told the English that they would cut their middle fingers off since they drew like that when they won. They didn't. And, not that it's a good thing, but that's where flipping somebody the bird came from, they say. The British would just walk by and say, "Still got it," and show them the middle finger. Alright, so archery, traditionally, it actually is part of man's evolution from an early point in time. Archers of the Bible, the Scythians, alright, they've been there forever. Don't you want to kind of connect to that? Now, after we've gone through those, we come to reason number 1 if you're a bow hunter. Reason number 1 if you're a bow hunter. If you are blessed to live in a place like the Midwest, or a place where you have monster bucks that are going to score in the 150, 160 range, more power to you. And I'm happy you do. Traditional archery, a doe becomes a 10-pointer. A doe becomes Pope and Young. Alright? When you harvest any animal with a trad bow, there's a feeling like no other. It's close. You got to get close. You got to be able to draw. You got to find her after the fact. I say her because, again, a doe becomes like a 10-pointer. If it makes you happy and you're a modern guy, give her a name. We've been hunting, get her on camera. We've been hunting Propeller ears for 2 years now. She's a 5-year-old doe. But if you hunt in a place like I do in Georgia, you're lucky to get bucks above about the 115 class. So I want meat on the table. I want to get that real excitement when I harvest an animal. When you take a gun, and not knocking gun hunters, I'll use the gun. I may use the compound bow sometimes, but when I take one with the longbow, it's a feeling like no other. And I feel like at the end of the day, like there's a fairness there that's not there when you shoot a deer at 300 yards. Don't want to ruffle any feathers, step on any toes. If it's legal and you enjoy it, do it. Just for me personally, that up close and personal, I just feel like it's a little more fair. So listen, thank you guys for watching, tuning in. We'll be dropping another video next week. Moving along with a little more trout archery and a little more food plotting. Thank you guys. Like us, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching. I mean, seriously, do you think the guys that made these used a rangefinder?